Yes, I'm very pleased to talk about Harry Alden because he was a very good friend. He was my age, born in 1929, and I've known him since the 50s. We were students together at the School of Art. I admired him as an artist. I admired him even more as a teacher, and I loved him as a dear friend, a very honest person, very straightforward, never did any harm to anybody. As I said, I met him in the 50s. I just returned from Oxford, and I was attending the School of Arts. At that time, the School of Arts was on the top floor of the Auberge d'Italie. The law courts had been destroyed in the war, and they had moved to the Auberge d'Italie, but the top floor was reserved for the School of Art. At that time, it was a very good establishment. We had Mr. Arpap as director, there was Envin Cremona, Bartet, Mangione, George Borch. I think it was one of the best periods of the School of Art. And for art history, we had we followed the course in art history by Attat Kassar. He was a very good lecturer. Then he retired, and I was pushed to apply to take his post. So after being a fellow student of Harry, I became his teacher, which was rather embarrassing. And now we were very good friends. He did my portrait. At that time, I presented this portrait to the Mjar Local Council Museum, and I officiated at his wedding. And we remained very good friends. As regards his studies, after his years at the School of Art, he went to Croydon. He had as his master a Mr. Lewis, who was a good artist, a good art historian. At one time he came to Malta and I gave him an exhibition at the Fine Arts. But I think his main influence was Bridget Riley, who introduced him to the hard edge technique. Harry was a very good draftsman, and he took to this hard edge technique, and you can see it in all his landscapes, in his stamp designs, in practically all his works. He did some religious art, a lovely crucifix, which was reproduced on the cards at his funeral, and he did some religious work at the Carmelite church at Baluta. So he produced quite a lot. I saw some works that you have at the Central Bank, where he was experimenting with slightly different techniques. But I'd love to remember him mostly as a teacher, because he taught for many years, and I know that his students really appreciated his efforts, and even at the funeral there were so many of his students who remembered him and who spoke so very highly of him. He was a very lovely person, a lovely character, very honest. I'd love to sort of compare his life to his art. Very clear, very principled, and very disciplined. I think the discipline that we see in his paintings is a reflection of his life. Okay, he lived a good life, and he was totally dedicated to his art and to his teaching and to his students. I think I can speak very highly of him.